This is the Crystal Chronicles, your Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia podcast, with Erolai, Kreese, and Mark, bringing you all your Defo news and talk. Welcome to Season 4, the LDBT era. Now let's start the show.
Welcome everyone to episode 149 of the Crystal Chronicles, your premium Defo podcast, bringing you all your Defo news and talk. I am your host, Mark, and I am not alone. I have a few guests with me, but first it's my co-host. First it's Arrow. Arrow, how are you doing it? How are you doing? I don't know. How are you doing podcasting?
Yeah, it's podcast night. And I have been trying to transition my outdoor-indoor cat to full indoor time. There's some reasons behind that I won't get into here. But he is not making the best of it this week, trying, and he's left me tired. So I will do my best tonight to be as enthusiastic as always, though. Back to you, Mark.
Hey, we're also joined by Kreese. Kreese, how's it going?
Am I allowed to make transition jokes yet?
Sure, why not?
I'm sorry. Never mind. Anyways, I'm doing well tonight. It's been a wild week, but I am doing well tonight. I am ready for the show. I'm ready to hear what naysayers about Sarah have to say after a week of using her. I've been having fun. I want to know what other people think of her too. Mark, back to you.
Thank you, Kreese and Arrow, and we are also joined by premium guest Necklord, all the way from the United Kingdom.
Hello. Yes, no, upgraded from special. I'm here so often now. It's not even special anymore. It's so frequent. So yeah, I think premium.
Yeah,
I like the sound of that. Premium guest.
Premium guest. Yeah, you're not special. After the first couple times, the glow leaves. That's for sure. I mean, that's understandable.
You get used to the accent.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's still wonderful, but I'm not as in love with it as I was early on. So, well, welcome, Necklord. We're going to have all kinds of things to talk about tonight. But before we do, there is an ongoing subathon. Oh, yes. Because of my hatred for Wakka, I have offered to pity Wakka with gems. Pity is LD. If we reach 50 subs, we are at 25 of 50 subs. And a shout out to those who subbed before the show. Summon Biscuits, Infamous Element, Jake, Arrow, and Raw Life gifted a sub, and G50. Thank you all for those subs. And if we get, and we'll do this in the post show, if we get 30 subs, so we're at 25. If we get 30, I will do 100 tickets. We do 40, I'll do 200 tickets. If we do 50, I will pity. It has to be by the end of the... Can you half pity? No. It has to be by the end of the show. So, get your mom's credit card, kids. And, no, I'm joking. But I do thank you all for your support, and that's really cool. And so we will likely do something. But if you want to see me cry on stream because I'm using gems for Wakka, then, open your wallets and support our podcast. Now, for the news of the day, we did announce we had a special Sarah surprise last week as we streamed. Thank you, Daniel, for the Prime sub. That's 26 if we're keeping count. We also got Sarah's costume from Final Fantasy XIII. So her regular skin is Final Fantasy XIII 2, but now we got her Final Fantasy XIII skin, costume. And we also got the hibiscus bow, which is a flowery bow of wonderfulness. Hey, thank you, C-Sam, for the gift sub. We're up to 27. And so those are both available. I bought them both. They're beautiful. I encourage you to think about it as well. Unless you're deciding whether to support us or support the game. Support us first, and I'll support the game for you. Look how that works.
Got us heel strong tonight, right?
That's correct. I just bought, I was going to say Daddy needs a new pair of shoes. I literally just bought a new pair of shoes. I went to the store, like one of those good shoe stores where they like put you on the treadmill and watch your feet and all that kind of stuff. That shit's expensive. I'm just going to throw it out there. Like not the $20 Skechers I've been wearing for the last 15 years. My feet feel great. My bank account, less great. So if you want to pay for Mark's new pair of shoes,
Premium shoes.
They are premium shoes. They're Brooks. That's the brand of it. So if you're familiar with that, they are not cheap. But they are not. It was not as expensive as I thought it was going to be. So I appreciate that. Soraya the Ranger, thank you for the sub as well. 28, if we're keeping track. Hey, Sarah, GL First LD board rework, and that is the official language used by Squex Joshua right here on this show last week. We need to talk about it because, and Inkwelder, if you're listening, I learned this phrase. I think you're going to appreciate it from the sports radio. And since we got 2 archers and a blitzballer, I think we're all about the sports tonight. There was a lot of talk in the Takeosphere. Takeosphere. Hashtag Takeosphere. That's where all the hot takes live, in the Takeosphere. I'm really in love with that phrase. I think you may have realized that because I've said it several times. So I want to talk about the Takeosphere. Blart again. Or Blartanian. And Crease and Raw Life, thank you for the subs. So that's, we're what, 31? 31.
You got Sism skip sub as well?
Yes. Yep, so that's 31. Yes. Thank you. So what are the hot takes in the Takeosphere? One that I have heard when we're talking about Sarah is that she's garbage because she didn't get a rework. She only got LD boards. And she didn't get a kit rework. Like, she only does 2 brave hits. And therefore, she's not good. Arrow, what are your thoughts on this hot take in the Takeosphere?
That's a garbage take. Did they not see what exactly was in that LD board rework? Because the numbers are pretty good. They're like pestle levels, and you don't even have to maintain 100% HP for that. Or worry about Holy Absorb. Anyway, back to you, Mike.
Crease, any thoughts on that particular hot take?
What are the concerns about the 2 brave hits? She has 2 forms of poison in her base kit. You can put spheres on her to make her poison or sap even more. She has 50% max brave regen for herself. So she doesn't really need the brave hits to battery herself or to get her brave up before she does those hits. I don't know. Like, she doesn't need the brave shape. She doesn't what her role is. She doesn't need it to gain brave because she has the brave regen. So the brave hits don't seem that important right now from my perspective. So yeah, Mark, back to you on that. I just don't see it.
Necklord, the Takeosphere says that Sarah did not get a kit rework, therefore she is bad. What's your take?
See, this is just the chef's kiss, because it's just Balthier all over again. The Takeosphere does not adapt. It does not learn. It's just spent. It's a spent force. It's like, goodness me, it's like people are wowed by like a shitty sponge cake, for example, like the most stale, boring sponge cake ever, as long as it has a nice little bit of like icing and the cherry on the top. And they just ignore the fucking shitty component. Like, it's like, oh, okay, you know, two brave hits, and you know, they focus on the fucking terrible stuff if they don't get something mega flashy, mega wow factor. And this is the thing. Sarah is not that. Sarah is a, layered, beautifully crafted red velvet cake. All the goodness on the inside. You don't see it. You don't appreciate it. But then all those auras, it's just too good. And it's just awful. It's an awful take.
You don't know me. Thank you for the Twitch Prime sub. Hey, Inkwelder, if you're listening, here's my follow-up. I believe that hot take, that particular take about she didn't get a rework, therefore she sucks, that aged like bread, not wine. Really? Come on, that's funny, right? Inkwelder, back me up here. Bread doesn't age well. Anyway.
We need like a
turn stale bread into a couple useful stuff.
I need a laugh track. Need a laugh track.
You can tell that Mark's the Reverend here with the references he's making.
So, Oh yeah, no, I wasn't thinking of the religious context for that, but thank you, I appreciate that. Thank you, Raw Life, I appreciate you for liking that. I stole it from the radio today. Aged like cheese on a car engine. Okay, that's
Aged
weird.
like milk would be the better way to go.
That's weird.
That's the normal way you say it.
Inkwelder always takes it to another level. That always takes it to another level. Yeah, Inkwelder said it aged like cheese on a car engine. So any other in the takeosphere, any other takes about Sarah that any of you have heard? Necklord, have you heard any other takes about Sarah?
I could venture one immediately.
Yeah.
So we've got the classic, she doesn't heal, so she's a shit support. How about that?
Yes, classic. She doesn't heal, therefore pass. She's a skip. She's not providing healing to your party. How can you have a support without healing? Arrow, any thoughts on that?
Well, we've got like some past supports that have been doing something similar, like Kieran. And actually, we got a guy coming tonight. Our favorite jock, Wakka, is coming in. And he does not heal. I guess he's got an auto suck because of that. Who else have we got? I'm sure we've had a couple of others. And I think we have also proven that all those characters have put in the work in the past and will continue to put in work in the future of this game, because that's just the nature of default. People will find the craziest stuff and make it work. Crease?
There's also a lot of outs for dealing with less healing in the party. 2 ways to deal with that is bring a healer as another slot in your party.
Whoa,
You're rarely bringing...
Whoa, you can bring Sarah and a healer?
I know, wild, isn't it?
Crap.
That's one option. The other option is, I don't know, bring call abilities that heal. There's a lot of options now. Like, at the moment, we're not dealing with a lot of fights that just lock out wholly, so Paladin Cecil, Call, and LD Call are very useful burst heals. Low down, Crease, you're only allowed 1 set of buffs. Oh no, you caught me.
Yep.
You can't do that.
Yeah, people.
But there are options for healing on calls.
People are saying, Deuce, Lilithette, Ramza before his rework didn't heal, and we used him as a support. I'm sure there's many others that we've used as supports over the years. So, yeah,
we've used a lot of supports that have very weak healing, and we've gotten by without them. Yeah.
Yeah, before her rework.
We've gotten by with them.
Yeah.
And there's ways around it. You have to think a little harder, and you have to play a little better, but there are ways to make them work.
Yeah, Charlotta has regen.
There's a huge flaw in the reasoning behind saying something like that, in the sense of she's not as good a slot filler because of the fact she doesn't heal. Whereas, how many characters in the roster can you say single-handedly fill the aura department?
Yeah.
Very few characters
heal,
can say they do that.
And do everything else that you need them to do. Yeah.
Yeah, well, Paladin Cecil does, except when it's wholly absorbed, which is like half the fights. So
right now, yeah.
Yeah, Kistis, Zaz, the classic one is Zaz, right? Zaz carried us through. If you've been playing since day one, Zaz probably carried you through a lot of content early on in the game. So, yeah. Overall, yeah, and then there's Inkwelder saying there's a lot of supports that are bad healers.
Yeah.
Oh, Emperor Zaz, yes. The good Emperor, God Emperor Zaz. Either one, C-Sam, yeah, definitely. Overall, I think we can talk, obviously, if there's any other takes from the Tagosphere, we can talk that in. I'm really trying to will that into existence, obviously, by saying it over and over again. But yeah, Sarah's great. She may win the GL First LD kind of prize, as she just seems to have it all. Yes, there are situations where some of her buffs will be resisted, or the bosses will be immune to it, but generally speaking, they're not going to be immune to all debuffs. Very few bosses moving forward are immune to all debuffs. And there are certainly characters that aren't going to be, or times when she's not going to be ideal, like every other character, right? There are times Paladin Cecil's not ideal. Times, Lightning's not ideal. I mean, seems to be few and far between, but for the majority of content, yeah, she seems just really good. She's bringing so much to the party. You can check out last week's episode to talk more about that. But in practical use, we all have her. We're all using her. Her battery is intense. Her regen is intense. The damage up is intense. She plays smoothly. She plays simply. She's just this great aura bot. I don't have any complaints about this character. Arrow, other thoughts? I know you've been busy this week, but in your limited use of Sarah, what do you think?
It's very, very good. Very powerful enabler. I mean, people love taking turns over the boss like crazy, right? Like, with their very speedy lightnings and I don't know. I'm not able to think right now. Other speedy characters like Jack or something or Aranea. Do they care if Sarah's not taking turns? Not at all, because her auras are doing their job. No matter how many turns your party takes, you might lose those moonlight buffs, but that's really not a big deal in the grand scheme of things. So, pretty strong character. If you are into these characters that all they do is enable other party members, Sarah's one of the best. I gotta say, I was very, very shocked and surprised by how cool she can be, even on the enemy turns because of the whole the double poison stacking. That's beautiful stuff. I love it. And that's pretty much my thoughts there on that. Carice.
Could you repeat the question?
Yeah, let
I
me
got distracted for a moment.
Yeah, let me read a couple things. Just talking about general thoughts on Sarah. So let me get back to you after I read a couple things in chat. Inkwelder saying, FYI, she's going to be excellent option to cheese Divine Alexander Lufania with Gladio or Gladio Friend. Ali Bulko saying, what do you mean she plays simply? She doesn't take a lot of thought to play, I guess is what I mean by that, and maybe that's just my own opinion. You press buttons and she does things, and that's all you need her to do. There's not much forethought into what you need to do. You don't really need to plan every move. She's just one of those characters that's there. She's doing a lot by being there. As long as you maintain her buffs and her debuffs, it's, there's really not a bad button to press with Sarah. Unless you burn through her LDs.
In how she plays, she's actually quite similar in terms of like the way she plays to Raijin, as it happens.
Yeah,
you just sort of throw things out and maintain your buffs and debuffs, and that's it.
Blartanian saying she's great with XDef, the buff stats he likes. Yes, very much. Daniel saying hot take, she's better than Aerith. Arguably, that's a good something to talk about. I mean, they do different things, but she's bringing a lot to the table. So Crease, what's your experience with Sarah, and what are your impressions after having some time to actually use her?
I've been liking her a lot so far. I have not had an opportunity to bring her to any high-level content just yet, or I haven't had a reason to just yet. But everything, just experimenting with her so far, using her for at least chaos fights, I've had a very good time using her for that sort of stuff. It's worked out very well for me. So I have no complaints so far using her for that stuff. It's worked well. I need to try using her in some Lufanias. I have not had an opportunity to do that yet, but I look forward to trying that out. Back to you, Mark.
Thank you. Before I bring it to Necklord to kind of close in the Sarah talk or start some new conversation, last week I shared the podcast polls where this was, before we knew that there was going to be this GL First LD board rework. And remember, the Sarah that we're getting is very different than the Sarah that JP got. That has moved from, and of course not everybody went back and updated their thing, but those who did, 28 people willing to pity, 112 people willing to use tickets, 11 using gems, 104 skipping. And again, I think that's probably a lot of people who didn't update things, but obviously a lot of people did go back and update things. So people went back and pulled. I'm guessing a lot of folks went back and pulled as well. So Necklord, what are your thoughts on Sarah overall?
Feels great to use. Feels great to just be there. No complaints. I mean, like if I wasn't an FF6 stan, I'd be a 13-2 stan. I love that game. I love the music. So any excuse to pull Sarah, they gave me one, and there we are. Straight to the pity for that. But there's something you read my mind on about starting new conversation, because this is a Pandora's box they've opened now. Who is to say there aren't further LD board adjustments for some of the duds that we are destined to get in future? So maybe even Wakka. Who knows?
Maybe we will find out in 35 minutes if Wakka's getting early GL first LD reward work, and I'll be happy. Hey,
before it's another layer of RNG.
Pikachu, if you're familiar with Pikachu, he's new to the game. Not a great player. Pikachu keeps reminding us in chat that he's having trouble getting her double cursed arts, which is an issue. I mean, if there's one issue for Sarah, she is a cursed art character. That means she has additional artifacts. If you're not familiar with that term, there are certain characters in the game: Aerith, Vivi, Sarah, Lion, Cater. I'm missing one. It's a list. I always miss one. But there are certain characters in the game that Squex, in the early part of the game, tried to basically give rework by adding artifacts. So we always try to get perfect artifacts to ideal artifacts. It is harder for these characters because these characters have more options. Therefore, it is more difficult to get the correct artifacts. Some of these characters, specifically Sarah, really want both of those cursed artifacts. They in the English version of the game, they are referred to. Oh, the game has been updated. Do we get anything? That's really super helpful to update.
I mean, it's probably just getting the LD data in and the banner data in for tonight.
So again, I'm going to forget what they're. Oh, I guess I could look at the infographic. Or TonberryTroupe.com has beautiful infographics, and they updated their Sarah infographic from sad Sarah to happy Sarah. So you can check out the new infographic. She wants 3 debuff attack boost all. That's the one that gives the party attack and max brave up, and then 3 charged moonlight boost that gives her an extra use of moonlight, which does come in handy, and more importantly, more max brave. Her battery is based on max brave. So, and her regen obviously based on max brave. So those are important. It can be difficult to do that. Use your Mog Pass. That makes artifact grinding easier. Do your co-ops. This current co-op, although we're getting a new co-op tonight. I don't think she's on this co-op, but the tentacle co-op, Terrible Tentacles, that one is tough. Grind some things, but you could get by without perfect arts, but she definitely wants them. So that is definitely kind of one of the downsides to Sarah. But after several years of trying to get perfect cursed art, or at least 2 years of trying to get perfect cursed arts for Sarah, I didn't have a single one when the banner dropped last week. And after doing one round of co-op, I lucked into 3 of them. So, I mean, it can happen like that. So don't give up and keep at it. And good luck to you all. So, Necklord, was there any particular character you were thinking might be due? I don't know if it was Inkwelder or Mino, or I think it was Inkwelder that was saying, okay, now that Sarah, because Sarah was like this, Sarah was like, oh, she's like the dud of the LDs, and everything was compared to Sarah. So Sarah was in the Japanese version of the game. Sarah was like the Pikachu. I don't know if Yuna moving forward needs double cursed. I'd have to think back with her LD and BT I don't think she needs double cursed. Anyway, we'll talk about that when she gets it. But she is the last character that I forgot to mention, so thank you for that. What was I talking about? Somebody help me out here.
You were building up to it. So
yes.
I don't know what you were building up to.
Inkwelder was saying, so now that Sarah is thank you, I appreciate that from my co-hosts. That assist sometimes helps. Sarah was the low bar. So every other LD was compared to Sarah. And so everyone was better than Sarah. So you could always go back and say, well, they're not the worst. They're better than Sarah. And so the question is now that Sarah doesn't suck, who's going to be the new Sarah? Who's going to be the crap character that we're going to be like, well, that's the worst LD? Is it Deuce? Is Deuce the worst LD? Is it Wakka? Is it Wakka the worst LD? He's not. But, there's going to be some other characters coming up that might be the new new worst LD. And will Squex know that ahead of time and be like, oh, we got a surprise for you. GL first LT board rework. And Barrett, yeah, somebody's saying Barrett. Deuce is whatever. But yeah, so Necklord, did you have any thoughts about, who might be due for that rework?
Well, I don't gaze into the JP crystal ball too much, but from what I gather, I think 7 Deuce.
Yeah, 7.
Are like 2 examples of like not amazing LDs.
Well, and 7 does some things that Sarah does that Sarah wouldn't have done, but now Sarah does better. So yeah,
but
7.
The
7
issue
might
with
be
that is 7 does not come with a new costume or weapon gloss. And
right.
so there may not be an endeavor to market around that.
She does have a skirt, but now Sarah has a skirt. Oh, and yeah, unless we get a whip weapon gloss, Sarah, 7's the whip one, right? Ash, yeah, well, Ash is a whole different situation. Yeah, people are saying Deuce, Wakka, 7 guy. I think there's some hot takes in there. The take us fears.
Yeah, I just want to see more curveballs. That's all I want to see.
Yeah,
I don't really care who it is.
Yeah,
just throw something new. Can't go wrong.
Yeah. HaateXIII saying we are all wrong. The Takeosphere is going to town. Well, let's leave the Takeosphere and talk about something we can all agree on: the importance of Olympic archery. No, let's talk about Trey's lost chapter, The Power of Knowledge. Trey is back in GL, and he gets an LD. No rework.
That's all he gets.
Yeah, no rework, so he sucks. Don't pull. Come on, guys, really? So, Crease, yeah, let's don't tell us what you do. Tell us what Trey does.
Sure. All Trey got, as I said, was the LD. Nothing else changed. The LD is pretty nice, though. It isn't bad. The LD, he gets 4 uses of it. It's called Firewall. It's a single target Brave plus HP attack that's executed 3 times. It does 50% splash damage to all other targets at the end of the attack, and it applies a new debuff to all targets. It's a trap debuff called Firewall. At the end of the enemy's turn for 4 turns, I believe. Oh, 6 turns, sorry.
6 turns, yeah. Yeah.
It triggers the trap effect Firewall, which causes a Brave gain, deals 2 Brave plus HP attacks, and then causes Trey to gain Brave based on the HP damage dealt after the effect's done. Along with that, the trap effect itself also applies a sap effect to them, and also increases Brave damage taken while it is there. So it's a pretty nice, just additional little quirk that Trey gets, along with everything else he already has. So, nice little kicker for Trey to have, along with everything else he already has going for him in his kit. Not too bad, not too shabby. I got his LD on ticket pulls. I've been using him since, and he's pretty solid, all things said. You got to play around with his charge abilities on his skill 1, skill 2, and HP plus. But honestly, from what I've been seeing right now, because you're usually weeding in the LD, the EX, you're never worried about where his charges are on his skill 1 or skill 2. You'll always have a button to push that'll be at max charges, unless you're trying to spam skill 1 or skill 2.
Crease, I hate to interrupt you, but we have a Q&A redemption from our Chocobo points. Raw Life asks, why do all the Type 0 characters look the same? #feels bad. Necklord, any thoughts on that?
This might surprise some of you, but they do appear to be wearing the same clothing.
Yes, interesting. Very interesting. And again, remember, you can use your Chocobo points, your channel points, to interrupt Crease and the actual information we're telling to do something completely off topic. But before we go back to you, Crease, Inkwelder does say, and this is interesting, although Inkwelder's trying to be funny, Firewall, which is the LD ability, inflicts Firewall, the debuff, and then triggers the attack called Firewall. So normally LDs would have one name, and then the debuff would have another name, and the actual attack would have another name, like Celeste. I believe if we look at Celeste's LD, if I can grab, I can't easily enough. Oh, come on, now I got to scroll down to see. So Celeste's is Freeze Dive, and that inflicts Magitech Ice Block, and lock and resist down, and then does the follow-up attack, which I guess is also called Magitech Ice Block. So, but that is funny. Triple Firewall for maximum protection. That is the joke that Inkwelder wanted to share. So, Crease, going back to the topic at hand.
So the reason they all look the same is because they all wear the same uniform because they're all part of the same class.
Oh, okay, yeah, good call. Yeah,
I hope that solves the problem that we all were stuck on.
Yeah, we
I
always.
knew I was onto something.
I'm going to add something. They don't look the same to me. You know what they actually remind me of? I was making fun of it earlier today in our chat, actually. And now that I've had more time to step away and think about it again, it's like Ouran High School Host Club. You know, you got Ace. He's the host. He's the main character, dude. And then you got Rim, I guess, would be HaateXIII. So, go from there, guys. They're basically a bunch of tropey, like, dudes and chicks in the class. So, anyway, that's my thought.
I have no idea what that was about, but those of you who are weebs might have gotten that reference. So I do know, unfortunately, that all of the female characters in Type 0 have different panties that reflect their personalities. So that's something I can never unknow. Thank you very much, the internet. And so back to you, Crease, about the actual character and what they do in Defo, which is what we're most interested in.
So I think where I left off was that Trey basically never has to worry about his charges now because with the addition of the LD and the recharge rate on his EX, the charges on skill 1 and skill 2, they recharge fast, or the charges build up fast enough that you always have a button to push now that will be at max charges. As long as you're not trying to spam skill 1 or skill 2, from my experience now. I almost never had, in my limited experience with him recently, I've never had to worry about pushing HP plus. I've always had a button to push. So that is where I am with him right now. He seems to be in a pretty solid position, all things considered. I don't know where everyone else feels on that, but that's where I've felt he stands right now. Arrow, did you get Trey? How do you feel about him?
Oh man, I went all the way. Okay, so I spent 15K plus the free multi, so it was like 80 G tokens. I absolutely love this LD. It's really nice being able to have that and then to stack one of his regular skills on top of it. So now you have more chances for follow-up attacks. Trey is very cool to play around. He's very easy to play, but there's also an advanced skill ceiling going on here. So understanding how to best abuse those traps is really fun. You can play around more on his debuff side if you want to. Those debuffs are no joke, guys. One of them is, and the EX debuff is you instant break no matter how much brave they have for 3 turns. And then the other one, now you have Firewall, and I think it increases brave damage dealt by the party too while that debuff is up.
It does.
So it's very nice. So those are 2 very useful debuffs. And I think also on his EX debuff, it increases brave damage dealt by the party as well. So beautiful stuff. But playing also around it, you can do turn manipulation and things and stack the skills like with Onion Knight. So you can go, I'll use one of my skills. Then Onion Knight will do, the LD attack. And then you can have another turn using like your AA and then follow up with another skill. So you can actually stack the traps in really fun ways. It's fun playing around the turns. It's fun building around the traps. You don't even necessarily have to make him your main thing, the main show, but if you want to, you can, or you can make him a secondary person who just hangs out in your party dealing a bunch of damage on the side. He's just really fun to play. I think he's good for beginners. He's good for veterans. He's good for pretty much anyone. He's a highlight of the month. I absolutely think he is not somebody you're going to regret having in your roster. And plus, guys, he's the only true male archer out of all 6 of them, and putting him with that flower bow, I enjoy it very much. Anyway, I think Necklord is the next to go.
Indeed, yeah. You see, I like to make the fact I skip Type 0 characters part of my personality, but the game, for some reason, just gives me their weapons in free pulls every time, and they just love doing free pulls on Type 0. For like, this happened with 8, it's now happened with Trey. Although at the same time, I don't really regret that it happened, because Trey is I was actually pleasantly surprised at how effective he is at doing what he does. In particular, though, the standout for me is that debuff, the insta break, only because it enables Cyan to fulfill his skill 1 condition with ease. He will always break them now. It doesn't matter how much fucking brave they have.
Finally.
So it makes him slightly more usable. So for
Finally,
that,
Cyan can serve his purpose.
Yes, at last. But yeah, other than that, I don't really show much interest for Type 0, but the character's good.
JD
And also, off-turn damage, that may be really useful in about 19 minutes. So, keep your eyes peeled.
JD Terraforce, thank you for the subscription for Tier 1 in your 4 mode. We are at 33, so we will definitely have 100 tickets for Wakka. If you want me to use gems, we got 17 more to go. But definitely using some tickets, so stick around for that. If you want to sub and make me pity, we need a few more subs. We're 17 away.
Yep.
Yeah, no, Trey is great. I've been enjoying him. I did not have any of his kit. I didn't have any of his boards done, so I had to really build him up. And so I didn't have any experience playing with him, so I'm still kind of learning. But, he's got, with his AA, he's got 10 uses of skill 1 and skill 2, 4 uses of his LD. That's 24 skill uses, and a EX that charges every 3rd use. So he ain't running out of buttons to press anytime soon, even as fast as he is. That's you're never going to want to press that HP button. Not to mention, half of his stuff and who cares? I mean, you take 500 breaks with him, because every time the boss hacks, they're taking damage, and that LD debuff firewall, that does a ton of damage, and so that's very satisfying. It's not just a little, here's 40,000 or here's 20,000 damage from a trap. I mean, it's a significant amount of damage that it's doing. Not to mention, the consecutive damage from the arrow shower, or, the special damage from dynamite, or just the extra brave up from fatal arrow, which is an amazing debuff. So yeah, overall, I mean, I'm very happy with him. Definitely, if you're looking for a solid ranged attacker with some utility, if you don't have an instant breaker, I mean, if you like characters that have traps. Oh, Shalaster, thank you for 10 gift subs. Wow, that's crazy. Appreciate that. If you got a gift sub from Shalaster, shout out to them. That makes us up to 43. So it looks like 200 tickets for Wakka, 7 more subs, and I will use gems till pity that LD. Thank you all. So we got some time if you really want to make me pity. We're only 7 away. 7 away from sadness. Oh, I didn't think it was going to happen, but now it's pretty close.
That's really close.
Now it's pretty close, and I feel real bad.
We can do it, everyone, just a little bit more.
I think the show's going to be short tonight. So, hey, well,
two more. Tarachi.
Oh, Zerathi, thank you. So yeah, now we're down to 5. 5 until gems. Saraya, thank you. That's now 4. I was spending G50. Yeah,
and there's 50.
That's
G50.
3, right? That was 45, 46, 47. Yeah.
3 more to go.
Mino spell good is gifting 5 tier 1 subs. Yeah, that's not how it works, Mino. Thank you though.
You can actually gift them.
We are 3 away. Hey, there was a Lufania, and you can go to DissidiaInfo.com. DissidiaInfo.com. Our friend Macnol does that, and he has a quick boss guide for this Lufania. Thank you, Raw
Life sub, or gifted a sub, and
Bartanian
gifted a sub.
Thank you
We're
both
one
for
away.
the gift subs. We're
gonna get there before Wakka even drops.
We are 1 away from.
We're gonna get there before Wakka even
from
drops.
The horribleness.
With me. Good
man,
Lord.
you are horrible. Oh, I hate you all. We still got one. We still got one. So no one else sub, and will be fun.
We got 15 minutes.
Yeah. No, I did say by the end of the episode, so I shot myself in the foot there. If I only had 15 minutes, I would feel better about it.
There we go. An infamous element. Gifted a sub to Mino, spell good.
I didn't say anything about if we go over 50 subs, but it has been done. See, Sam. Thank you. Now we're at 51.
That is a Shakespearean twist, right? Because Mino's out there faking that he's gifting subs, and then just
I'm glad I wasn't
and
the only
gift
one
him
thinking
the sub.
that.
Oh my god!
Mino forgot to do his free Amazon Prime sub. Yeah. Or he's probably subbed to Josepher or somebody else out there. So support
Mino's
all of our
cheap.
Support all of our content creator friends. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Mino probably uses his sister's Amazon Prime account. So
Here we are shitting on Mino.
Hey, Trey has a Lufania, and in the Lufania, you fight some monsters. What are they called? What are they called? They're
Evil gays.
They're evil gays. They have a lot of resistance, a lot of battery. The orb starts at the fight and ends at 29% of their health. It increases by 10% when Brave is taken via a debuff, for example, Sap or Poison, Sarah X Death, or a special effect, Vincent's Aura, Trace Traps. Not all traps trigger the aura, but specifically Vincent's Aura and Trace Traps do work. They're an effect, not technically a trap. So other traps like Emperor don't work. Celeste, Beatrix, they don't work, I don't believe. So the main gimmick, so that's the orb. The main gimmick of the boss is they go through these 3 phases. The first phase is called Run Wild, and it's red. That's part of their normal rotation. You're going to see that a lot. They have an increased attack and speed when they get that. They can take, they jump turn rate. They do consecutive turns. That's where they get very dangerous. Their attacks ignore brave damage reduction and inflict break on the target, and they can delay. So they're very dangerous in this phase. They spend the majority of their time in that phase. After the red aura has left, they generally move to yellow. And in yellow, they generally gain brave gain, unless you have a debuff down, a max brave debuff down. It's like 70,000. And they are heavily resistant to brave, basically meaning you will do 1 brave damage to them. So instant breaks is how you deal with that. Once they are broken, you can do regular damage to them, and their defense is heavily reduced. Then there's a blue phase, which I never saw. I don't know if anybody else saw it, but I certainly didn't see it. And I tried to play. I didn't cheese it, so I actually tried to play and see, if the blue aura would ever come, and it never came. They have a lower defense and lower speed, and are easier to kill. And so you should kill them when they get to blue aura. Apparently, that only happens if you're not me. So it's a pretty simple fight. The problem is they're very fast, and they can kill you very fast. And so Trey murders this fight. This is his fight, obviously. But there's other ways around it. Specifically, you can launch meta this. Cloud, Ramza, Dark Knight, Cecil, Kais. Ramza, Sarah is very, very used. If you go to the Call to Arms, again, Dissidia Info, Call to Arms, the most used characters are Sarah, number one. She does really deal really great with this content. Trey, Gladiolus does really well in here. And then it's Cloud, Ramsakais, Dark Knight Cecil. Eldnarsh locks it out. Celeste can deal with it. Squall's really good. And a lot of other characters, Gabranth, Aerith, Y'shtola, like number 15 on the list for her cycle. Lightning, Arnea, Arciela, Furion. So many other options. And you can see a lot of runs. I think we're almost at 100 runs for this particular. Levantine, thank you for the Twitch Prime sub as well. Appreciate that. So, not an easy fight. Not the most difficult fight we had. I used Trey, Sarah, and Squall. Again, I tried to play through it to see if they'd ever get in that blue aura. They didn't, so I just ended up killing them because I'm like, I'm not going to carry this on forever. But Trey just destroys it. Trey and Sarah together completely destroy it. You can pretty much throw Trey, Sarah, and anybody else, and I think you'd be fine. Arrow, how did you approach this fight?
I pulled for Trey. I wanted to use him. I hate this battle a lot. I hated the chaos last year. I hate this Lufenia. But my other two party members with Trey were Furion and Arciela. Now, I brought Arciela and swapped her with my friend unit, but I mainly brought her because under that 30% mark, when they start doing all those HP attacks, that's whack, man. They're so fast, and I wanted to let them still have turns so that my trap effects and everything would still go off. But if you HP silence them, they don't get to act, and they never get to do their HP attacks. You can HP silence them the whole rest of the fight if you are very, you time those HP silence as well. I also want to give a shout out to somebody in my comments who mentioned 8 being very good for this fight. It seems, even though, yes, if they miss, you still get instant broken. The thing is, the attacks will miss. I think when they do the yellow aura mark, that follow-up attack can still miss. So apparently 8's very good for this fight for that. I did not realize that, but thank you so much to my to the commenter who gave me that information. His name is Defo Fowler. I will link his YouTube shortly, and he did do an 8 run. He does a lot of 8 runs, in fact. So thank you so much for letting me know about that. Is this the time to talk, I guess, about any other things in the fight in general?
Yeah, please.
I want to bring up. Oh, I did see the blue aura, by the way. I do want to say that it's not going to last long, but when it is up, their stats are lower. So they take a lot more brave damage and everything if they are in the blue aura. Ideally, when you're using your friend unit and stuff, you want them either in yellow, not to be in an aura at all, or to be in blue. Obviously, blue is really good too. So red is not the ideal. They're faster. They have more attack than, it's kind of annoying. Also, one other thing, before I pass it over to Kreese or Necklord, just assume you're probably going to get broken every time red and yellow's up. Just assume that, live with it, play around it. There's several ways to do so. Anyway, I think I will pass it over to Kreese now.
Thank you. Just to break in before we do, Theologica, thank you for the sub. When's Mark tokening Lightning BT? Shalaster suggested that at 70 subs, I have to pity Y'shtola Burst, which I do not have. So if we get to 70 subs, then I will pity the Burst on stream. Yeah, let's do that. Why not?
No.
Why not? I'm all jacked up on ginger ale. Yeah, let's do it. 70 subs. I'll pity the Burst on stream. Kreese, how did you deal with this fight?
I pretty much took the path of least resistance. I went Y'shtola, Trey, Celeste. Celeste with her traps, Trey with his traps, and Y'shtola just supporting and keeping them batteried. That worked really, really well. Celeste did not take a lot of turns during the red phases because she just kept getting broken and knocked back. But that was okay because Trey's traps did a lot of damage and Celeste's traps did a lot of damage. Celeste did not need to take turns to contribute to that fight. It was pretty straightforward, pretty easy. I think I beat it by a pretty remarkable turn margin. This was by far one of the easiest Lufenias for me in a long while. I've been struggling with Lufenias lately, and this one I just kind of breezed through. So I don't really have much to say about this. The first red phase, I just kind of took my time with. As soon as they got into yellow phase, I insta-broke them because of the traps I had on them. Like, I don't have anything to say about it because I didn't experience how difficult it was. And then as soon as they got out of yellow phase, I just went to town on them. Once they kind of got tired. And then I unloaded everything I had with them once they got below 30%. Just trying to rush through that last red phase.
Thank you,
But that
Zamboni
was pretty much
Driver.
how I did with it. So Necklord, how did you deal with this fight?
Thank you, Zamboni Driver, for the Prime sub. That is 54 of 70. So, yeah, Necklord, how did you take this fight on?
I'm actually mad thankful to the devs for forgetting that Gladio exists, because had they not, this would have been a great deal of trouble. Because I didn't really want to do the whole synergy stomp as much as I had Trey and Sarah to pass, but running Gladio in this is super fun. Like, for a start, he is just tanking everything, and oh no, a character with a really strong low turn count buff is getting delayed and broken all the time. Oh dear. So it's what he wanted. Just sending him to the Nether Realm of turns, so he can just counter non-stop, 3 damage. It's quite a tough turn count, right? It's 60, I want to say. I could be wrong.
It is a very tight fight. It is 60 turns.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I'm at the phase now. Like, I just don't even bother trying sign anymore because of the turn inefficiency. Because the turn counts these days are so low. So, but yeah, I had a ridiculous. Most of my stuff was like off-turn memes, so my turn count was like absurdly low. Yeah, I honest to God, I didn't pay attention to the phases though. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Yeah, no, it really didn't matter if you brought the right characters, right? So you just kind of murder it. A little easier than the last time we had to do this fight, because that was real tough.
Quest is like as easy or as hard as you want it to be, really, based on what you bring.
I agree. But if you're struggling, don't feel bad. Come on to our Discord, tccpodcast.com, or just in the links of however you're watching this, and you can join our Discord. And there's plenty of wonderful people to help you in the GL event channel. Or you can go to DissidiaFFOO.com, check out the beautiful call to arms. Almost 100 different teams to check out and videos linked right there for your convenience. And also a quick start guide to this. And that's care of DD Rocks 13. So thank you, DD Rocks, for that. Very cool. So let's talk about this numbskull Wakka. So we're gonna get Bosch. We're gonna get Bosch Rush. Wouldn't that be fun? Let's Bosch Rush. It's just a whole event where Bosch just tanks crap. Wouldn't that be a great content? I'm looking forward to that. Squex Joshua, give us Bosch Rush. When Boss Rush is done, I'm really looking forward to Boss Rush moving forward. But we have Boss Rush number 3 tonight in 3 minutes at the recording of this video. And with it, a new banner, which I will have to pity the LD on, and potentially for 17 more subs, the Y'shtola BT. And that is Wakka. And if you're not familiar with Wakka, he is racist. He's a supremacist, and I think that's the easiest way to say it. He is a simple sports playing supremacist, so people, I hate Wakka. That's not a secret. That's why people are making me pity him. I hate Wakka. I don't hate him because he's racist. Yes, I hate racism. But we all have racist friends. And we all have people in our lives who are racist who we have to deal with. And we have to nudge and help move them over. I mean, that's my goal. I deal with people who are judgmental all the time, who are on the wrong side of their convictions. And so we try to nudge them and love them and bring them over to the better side. And that's what happens to Wakka in his story arc. Spoilers. No shame for there. He comes in contact with the thing he hates and realizes he needs to love it and move on with his life. That's not why I hate him. You might be thinking maybe I wasn't picked first in sports and that's why I hate him, because he's a big stupid jock. No, I love the sports. I've been listening to sports radio all day. That's where I got the TakeOsphere. I love it. I love the sports. I was listening to the sports before the podcast. The sports is great. No problem with the sports. I hate Wakka because in Final Fantasy X-2, he marries Lulu and sires her child. And that is blasphemy and terrible. Wakka is a cheap substitute for Chappu. and it drives me crazy. I don't think Lulu would ever in a million years replace Chappu for Wakka. Chappu was noble and strong and beautiful, and Wakka's just a turd. That's why I hate him. It's nothing to do with all that other stuff. Has to do with this terrible, terrible blasphemy called Final Fantasy X-2. Lulu has better standards. And yeah, I mean, yeah, the world's falling apart. You got to rebuild the population. I get it. But it's fantasy. And that fantasy's not okay. So, Kreese, I'm going to go use the restroom and cry because I'm going to have to pity his LD. You tell us what Wakka got.
Sure. Wakka didn't get a lot. He just got an LD. The rest of his kit's completely untouched. So, what is his LD and what does it do? His LD is status reels. It is an AoE Brave plus HP attack. It gives him an free ability use on his next turn, and it applies the status effect status reels to all enemy targets for 6 turns. What does status reels do? It reduces or it increases Brave damage taken by all targets by 20%. And it does something else that leans in on Wakka's gimmick in this game, which is that it randomly chooses between one of 3 debuffs upon infliction and also at the end of the target's turn. Here are the 3 potential things it can do. Number 1 is status reels, or status reels, which causes the target's attack, defense, max brave, and int brave to be decreased by 50%. Brave status reels, which means that the target cannot increase its brave, prevents brave from increasing. And action status reels, which means that the target cannot act. It's the equivalent of a confuse effect. So it will randomly shuffle between these 3 variants for the 6 turns that it is up. And that's what Wakka got. So if you are counting, and I hope you are, each of his abilities has a random effect associated with it. Dark Attack has Blind, which means that while Blind is up, the target has a 50% chance to miss attacks. Brave Reels, each of the buffs has a 90% chance to be applied, not a 100% chance to be applied. Attack Reels has a 60% chance per ally to give them the Attack Reels buff, not a 100% chance. And Status Reels cycles between 3 powerful effects on each turn. So you have a lot of randomness in Wakka's kit, and there's a lot you have to leave up to chance with Wakka when you are using him. You cannot guarantee anything at a particular time, and you can get a lot of bad luck in your that can go against your favor at any given time. You can Blind can have the dice roll against you. Brave Reels can decide it does not want to give you any of those buffs at any time. Attack Reels can decide it does not want to give your allies Attack Reels refreshed. And Status Reels can decide it does not want to give you the effect you might want at any given time, especially if you're really squeezing for a specific effect at a specific time. At least Status Reels effects are all very good, regardless on which one you have. So, with that said, I am kind of, giving Wakka. What's the turn of phrase? It's I'm giving him praise while also criticizing him at the same time. I don't have much good to say about him. Sorry. Arrow, do you have better things to say about Wakka?
You gave him a backhand compliment. And anyway, so I personally think Wakka has been very good in this game. His EX, when it first released, I did try for it and did not get it. And I was very sad because I saw some people who had Wakka and he looked really good. So let's talk about the other things that are consistent here. I know people complain about the EX buff not always being there, but I'm going to be real with you guys. That EX is up like a lot. So most likely you're going to be able to maintain the buff. His battery on skill 2 is very good. dark attack. I mean, blind is blind. It is what it is. It works and it works, and when it doesn't, it doesn't. Unless you're using Kimari's Tree Blind, just you kind of have to flip a coin and pray for the best. That's just kind of how it goes with that. But the LD here, the one guarantee you have is always an increased 20% damage, brave damage up. That's it's framed, so it stacks with other stuff pretty easily. Wakka's not eating a bunch of buff slots on your team. Yeah, for himself, yes, but not for everybody else, thankfully. So that's something. I think he's very good. I actually used him in a Lufinia. I used him for Ace Lufinia with Machina and Leon, and he did satisfy the orb condition there with his random counter if he gets hit, which worked on that orb. I love these old kits. They are so weird sometimes, and they have the weirdest stuff that makes no sense the further along we get in the game. And then you'll find the most random uses for those weird abilities. So what else is there to say? I mean, I know Sarah just came out, guys, but Sarah and Wakka can work together especially if your third character is, just some damage dealer, like, I don't know, Squall maybe, or Aranea. There's plenty of people who could definitely benefit from like all those additional auras. And Wakka does have good auras. He has like 100% attack bonus, guys. That's like, as long as he can keep that EX buff up, of course. I know a lot of people don't like random. I find random sometimes to be fun to play with. And thankfully, we have just only a couple of characters like this so that we can satisfy our chaotic instincts in these games. Look, the only other character I can think of offhand who's like this is Desh. And we all use Desh a lot. A lot of people use Desh. The people who had him did use him. And his LD debuffs are random. You don't know if you're going to get paralyzed or a 40% defense down debuff that, every other turn that the enemies take. But it was still useful because he also had other things going for him that were guarantees, which were, the weakness damage up and everything. And hey, speaking of, you could probably put Besh and Wakka together and it'd be pretty good because that's enchantments and a bunch of auras and everything. So those are the things I would think about, guys, because what's there as your guarantees are very good. And the other stuff is just like gravy, on top of your potatoes. So that is how I would look at Wakka. Is he a must-have? Like any other character? Probably not, but would he be fun? Probably. I mean, random can be chaos like that. Chaotic, like random debuffs can be fun. You can sometimes just hit the jackpot a bunch of times and just laugh at your luck. It's fun. And what he already has here will be viable for the coming fights to come. So that's my thoughts. I think it is now Necklord's turn. So I'm going to pass it over to Necklord. And I
think chat are in a small revolt there. They're saying Desh wasn't that random and no one used him to try and get the paralyze. It wasn't really like a shining star in the kit. It was just a thing that was there. I think I'd agree with that. Like, Dash Paralyze is probably just like a bonus rather than a gimmick to work around. And like, let's go back to Wakka here because it's quite fitting that this highly devout, highly religious character is like this, because one of the main things you're going to need when you're using him is faith. Fucking faith is what you need to make sure he works properly. I mean, it's just ludicrous how many things instantly make him feel shit if they go wrong. Like, it's just unacceptable the way he's designed here. I'm just like trying to imagine like how the pitch went for the design of this character. It's like, right, okay, so his skill 1's gonna have a blind, and there's a 50% chance that blind won't work. Yeah, okay, that's fair enough. Blind is a strong D, but sorry, I'm not finished. Now his skill 2 will have a 10% chance of just not giving the individual buffs. Well, what's the point of doing that? Well, isn't that just going to frustrate? Did I say I was finished? So his X has a really important buff, but we're going to make it so 40% of the time it's just not going to, be given to the party. Wait, intern, what are you? Did I say I was finished? Now, the scaling of his battery in his X is also random. It's going to, vary between 105 and 205% attack. What you trying? I'm not finished. Now his LD will have a debuff that can morph into 3 forms, meaning there's a 66% chance that the effect you want is not going to fucking happen. And that's how I imagine fucking the pitch went there. It's just crazy. What the fuck are they doing? I just don't understand.
So A lot of people might be asking themselves, like Necklord is, what's going on with Wakka? Why is Wakka all RNG based? Well, if you're not familiar with the real story, like, when I was growing up, VH1 Behind the Music, MTV Unplugged, like it got like what's really going on. So the real story, how Wakka left the Aurochs, wasn't because he went off with Yuna to be her guardian. Yeah, he retired to go save the world. No. He was banned from Blitzball for sports betting. He bet against himself and his own team. Wakka is a great Blitzball player, but he constantly tanked to lose because he was always betting against himself. And so, like Pete Rose, he has no place in the Hall of Fame and does not deserve your gems, even though I'm going to be using gems on him tonight, although not on the BT yet. That could change. 17 more subs. So this is your TiVo Sports Radio. There's at least one Pete Rose reference in every TCC podcast. Some of them are harder to come by than others. Yes, Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame. Actually, he's quite good. And his sports betting was on something completely unrelated. But Wakka should not be in the Blitzball Hall of Fame. Keepa, on the other hand, very good. I do love the sports. The sports is good. Yeah, Wakka sucks. So I hate him. And I hate everything about his kit. And here's my, just be serious. Here's my real problem. His hair. What the hell is going on with his hair? No, it's fine. Whatever. That's, everybody's got their own style. But the question is like, when are you going to want to use Wakka as opposed to somebody else? You want great auras? Oh, well, why not use Sarah? You want to shut down the boss? Why not use Arciela? Why not use Eldnarsh? Why not use Kefka? Why not use anybody else who is consistently shutting down the boss? Want to have, consistent anything? Why bring Wakka? Now, that being said, he's not bad. He's not terrible. Yeah, the meme channel, I have read the meme channel today. Our meme channel on Discord is filled with Wakka memes. You should record Wakka Lufania run for a month. So Inkwelder, let's be I'll pity the BT on 70 subs to record a month of Wakka Lufania runs. That's like 100 subs. Let's just guess that's terrible. I'd rather waste 120,000 gems than have to record Wakka Lufanias. That's horrible. That's torture. I can't imagine anything worse than having to do that. But in all honesty, Wakka's not a terrible character. He's not the bottom tier now that Sarah is. Not terrible. Either if you like Wakka, you're going to find ways to use him. You're going to have fun with him. And you just learn to enjoy the crappiness that is RNG. And maybe it will work in your favor. And if not, hey, you can always play it again, reset, and you'll be good. This does bring us a boss rush, which we will talk about in detail next week, because that's launching as we speak. It's already live now. There's 4 waves. 3 of the waves, I believe, it is 2 crust beetles, 2 guard scorpions, 2 celestials, and 2 needle snakes. 3 of the waves have orbs. The first wave has an orb that starts at the battle start, and you have to do brave damage via a debuff. The second wave appears at 79% of their health, and you increase the orb by healing 50% at least. And the fourth wave, you have to inflict 2 debuffs at the end of the turn. The problem is if you inflict 4 debuffs, like Sarah, can't bring Sarah to this one, unless they resist one of them. Maybe they do resist one of them, but I'm not sure. But if you inflict 4 debuffs, they enrage, and it's very, very bad. So don't do that. Do not do that. Characters like Gladio, is really helpful in the first wave. Trey, Furion, Emperor provide those debuffs as well. Wave 2, Paladin, Cecil, Y'shtola, Aerith all do that healing. Wave 3, to inflict those debuffs, Celeste, Wakka, they can do that. And then some just good damage dealers, and you should be good. You might be able to play around with Vincent. But yeah, you can use Sarah on the first wave. Inkwelder, it reminds us, and she would be very, very good on the first wave. So just make sure she's not in your party by the fourth wave. This is the boss rush that will not be scaled back for us. GL, we got some early kind of quality of life with boss rush. So this is kind of where we've caught up to JP. So this boss rush should be similar to what they had. So this shouldn't be our hardest boss rush, but we got some early quality of life with the first two boss rushes. So, but yeah. Again, we haven't had a chance to play it. I don't think anybody has any experience on it unless you just finished in 5 minutes. You can go to Tonberry Troupe and check out their Lufania research. I'm not sure if Macnell is going to do a little guide on there, but TonberryTroupe.com, they have some information there. You can check that out. And then, the call to arms on DissidiaDB, or Dissidia, you can check out DissidiaDB too. But Dissidia Info, Macnell's site, will have all kinds of runs for it as well. You can bring 3 parties to get the complete, so that's not a big deal. And good luck. And if you're having trouble, jump on. We'll talk a little bit about it next week. Crease.
Yes.
We do have some time for host discussion, and we need 16 more subs if you want me to pity by the end of the show. So we'll call it at the end of the show, wherever we are. And a lot more subs if you want me to actually record Wakka runs. So, hey, Necklord's here, Arrow's here, Crease is here, I'm here. Let's get to some questions.
Okay, so first question is from Pikachu, and it is a couple weeks old. Pikachu says, feeling philosophic. What is the difference for someone who lives life at the EX difficulty, Chaos difficulty, or Lufenia plus difficulty? So that's a huge difference there in difficulty levels. I do not know what the Lufenia plus difficulty is like. I do know what the EX and Chaos difficulties are like, so I will at least touch on those and at least compare to Lufenia difficulty and say that EX difficulty is like just doing something and not even thinking about it, just doing it mindlessly. And I'd say Cosmos is basically that now. Cosmos is mindless playing at this moment. Chaos difficulty is you have to at least pay attention to some boss mechanics, but you can still bring, as long as you know that you're not running into dangerous boss absorbs and you at least know somewhat what the boss is doing and you bring at least some sort of team comp, you'll be okay. And then Lufenia is where you have to actually pay attention. You know what you're doing, and you have to know what the boss is going to do, and you have to know all the boss mechanics. And that's where the game actually is meaningful. You can skirt by almost every chaos fight nowadays, not playing at like half mental, like at half attention is what I'd say. And not really paying attention to what you're doing some of the time and still be fine. And Lufenia, you cannot do that. You will just die. And I think that's a fair comparison. Arrow, would you agree with my analysis to that?
Yeah, I don't know. I was just thinking about foods and comparing them to that. So I guess EX difficulties like the chips you grab out of the cabinet. They're easy to open and easy to eat. And then I guess like chaos difficulty would be like cooking a nice Sunday meal. It takes a little bit of effort, but not too much because you got a lot of time, in your day. It's the weekend, so you can take your time. And then Lufenia is like when you're in Hell's Kitchen, you're getting yelled at and having to make the food, these fancy dishes in 30 minutes or less, that kind of feeling. Anyway,
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's my thoughts.
I think I have a good sort of progression here with the philosophy, I guess. In the Cosmos is probably like 100-meter sprint, right? You just sort of burst through everything, and all you really think about is getting to that end point of the boss being 0 HP. Then you get to Chaos, and it's like hurdles. And, it's still A to B, but you've got to jump over a few things. And then you get to Lufenia, and it's the same 100 meters, and it's still supposed to be a rush, but it's on a tightrope. And you're also juggling at the same time. So there'll be a recast, there'll be a fucking orb or whatever. And then you get to Lufenia Plus, and it's the same thing, but every 10 steps on the tightrope, you have to do a backflip. And I think that would be my sort of mental image of what the difficulties are like. Or what it feels like when you're playing, at least.
Well, Pikachu is in chat with us, of course, and has something to add to the Tacosphere. Pikachu Game says Sarah is more RNG than Wakka because of double cursed hearts. So that's now
all
in the
of that is
Tacosphere.
outside of fights. Wakka, you have to deal with his RNG every fight forever. You can theoretically finish your luck issues with Sarah as, hey, I'm Kyrie has.
Yeah. Once you get Sarah's cursed arts, then you never have to worry about it again. It's not like you have to roll them every time you play. So, my answer, if I understand Pikachu Game's question correctly, or at least my interpretation of it is, what's the difference in the personal feeling as a person who finishes just Cosmos or just Chaos or just Lufania or completes all of Lufania Plus? And I guess my answer to that is however that person feels. If someone plays the game and all they do is Cosmos and they feel fine about it, great. If somebody does Chaos and they feel great about that, great. If someone, is killing themselves to do Lufania Plus and they quit and they get angry and they do all these, Tacosphere takes and make all kinds of content and then they quit the game because Lufania Plus is hard, then they're not doing it right. Then stop doing Lufania Plus. The game is enjoyable how you make it enjoyable. And if you're not having fun playing the game, don't play the game.
Or play it a different way.
Find a different way to play it. Thank you, Crease.
Yeah.
Great question, Pikachu. Next question.
Okay. Next question is, how would the hosts implement improvements on EX abilities and additional abilities? This is from a couple weeks ago. I'll let Arrow answer this first because I got to think about it a little bit. Do you have any thoughts on this, Arrow?
Well, it is, as far as we know on the JP side, we're eventually supposed to get additional upgrades to EXs. So I guess on a lot of the cases, that'll be damage improvements, probably maybe new buffs. It may come with all kinds of things that we don't even know yet, like more follow-ups, maybe new mechanics for these characters we didn't expect. Similar to how regular EX Plus upgrades kind of went, And then I'm hoping if they do something to buff AAs in the future, that some of them are looked at and in the scope of reworks and everything, changing them maybe to do more stuff like Celeste's AA really hurts. Like, it used to be a really important AA, but now her runic actually does AoE target lock and her LB does it. So she doesn't need that. And now all you may use it for is for the extra, the small extra effect. It'd be nice if they did a little bit more with AA in certain cases like that. I'm not really sure what direction they can go in, but just something additional for her would be nice. Maybe an additional ice enchant would be very useful because those stack at least. So give her something extra that would be useful maybe for the party in general. That's all I can really think of. I'm not feeling too creative on this one. I guess, Mark, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I think the EX rework should be automatic for everyone who has the EX fully limit broken, fully invested with ingots. And if you do not, so if you're someone who, I don't know, doesn't fully invest in their EXs, who runs them 1 out of 3 or 0 out of 3 for some reason, you should never be able to get the rework. It should be if it's purple on release, you get the rework. If not, you get punished forever. That's my my opinion.
That's your hot take.
That's my take. That's in honor of Black Nero. Necklord, any thoughts? Oh no, Kreese, go ahead.
I was just going to comment that the way that Square Enix has handled this stuff is that if it is attached to a weapon, it's harder to retroactively rework, and they usually have to build on it in some way. If it is not attached to a weapon, it's easier for them to go back and rework it substantially. So I could see them going back and overhauling additional abilities a lot more easily than they can overhaul EX weapons or EX abilities. Usually they have to add on to them rather than just rework them. I mean, I could see them doing reworks of EX boards to make them more powerful. They could do another layer of EX boards or some additional thing, like maybe EX, the equivalent of a Bloomstone for EX weapons. That sort of thing, to be a rework type of mechanic, but that'd be another layer of upgrades for EXs on top of the already EX character boards plus EX plus systems. So I don't know what they're gonna do or what would make sense to do at this point. So Necklord, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think like X abilities started feeling that they lost their wow factor when they started getting crept by like not even just LDs anymore. Base abilities are better than a lot of X abilities on certain characters. So I mean, I'm not really that demanding here. Get rid of like if there's any bullshit conditionals on an X, get rid of it immediately. Like I don't even have to bring up Cyan. Like we all know that conditional is disgusting. If it's got like if it's just nothing like Bart's, I mean that just needs some work, right? It's just what you're doing. What like is that they must have known you know that like it was gonna scale up in a way where like X abilities would do substantially more than what they did initially, and make animations catering to that. But I think they're just making it up as they go along, kind of thing. We're probably going to see like when they do drop the like X enhancements, it's just going to be like an absurd number of brave hits in a really short space of time, really clumsily done. Like, that's what I'm expecting.
Much like the Star Wars sequel trilogy, there was no plan when DissidiaFFOO was created, and they are just making it up and passing it from dev team to dev team, from continent to continent, from Hong Kong to Indonesia to Japan to the United States, wherever it is. Yeah, good times. Yeah. How about another one, Kreese?
Sure. SS Vegito asks, which boss out of all Final Fantasy titles do you want to see in DFFOO? Ooh, this is a tricky one. I still want to see Ultros pop up. We have not seen Ultros in this game yet, and as goofy as he is, I would love to see him pop up. He usually pops up in most crossover type of media. I don't know how he would appear in this, but he'd make a fun joke boss, in my opinion. Arrow?
This would require me to remember a boss that is not in the game, and none are immediately coming to mind, so I'm going to pass.
I'll throw a few out there. I mean, this is technically cheating because like. Dr. Cid in Final Fantasy XII is a boss, but I want him as a playable character. So.
Yeah.
But I think the purpose of the question is like, what boss do you want in the game that is a boss? So in that case, pretty much any of the Final Fantasy XII Espers would be great fits, to be honest. Like Zodiac,
the 12 Esper fight would be amazing.
Yeah, because I mean, they added Ultima, and that was like, they've got like different types of that now, but that was a cool fight when it first came out. So.
That was back at the beginning of the Chaos era.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't really have a preference in terms of the Espers. I'd say probably Zodiac or Adramelech. Those are like the coolest in my opinion. But those would be great.
Yeah, Final Asim is saying, did we ever fight a Tonberry in this game? No, we have never fought Tonberries in this game. Tonberry would be an excellent boss to fight or a unit to fight. We've never fought Poo-Poos in this game. Again, would be an excellent boss to fight, very classic. We've never fought Chocobos in this game or Chocobo-related bosses. Maybe a Chocobo Eater. Although, a lot of the traditional bosses you don't fight in this game. The four Archfiends. We have not fought all of them. The Final Fantasy IV fiends. That kind of stuff. I'd still like Edea as a playable boss. Final Fantasy VIII Sorceress Edea. I'd be okay with a skin for a costume for Ultimecia as well, like they did in NT. But good question. But yeah, I mean, at some point, I don't know why Tonberries is just. There's a few bosses. I mean, obviously the Marlboros we fought several times in this game. Behemoths we fought several times in this game. There's things like that, classic bosses. But yeah, we've never fought a Tonberry, and that seems like a shame. So.
Well, I dread to think I dread to think if they ever do the those Master Tonberries, I think they're called in FF15. But those guys are nasty in that game.
Yeah. Final Fantasy 15 Tonberries were kind of terrible anyway. Yeah, it's very scary. He's got a knife.
Not just a knife. Those guys had like fucking swords and shit.
Yeah. Tonberry. Well, let's do one more. Where are we on the list?
Just a sec.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
We are just minutes away from
Gerald
making me pity something.
Gerald89 asks, do you think Riku will be held back until the game starts to lose a lot of players to bring them back in? Riku is a lie. She will never join the roster. Sadly.
No.
What are they saving her for, man?
I don't know. Hasn't some of her character data been in the game forever?
Yeah. No. Nope. We're never gonna get Riku. Riku is going to be saved for the Final Fantasy X remake. after Final Fantasy VII remake is completely finished, and we'll probably get Kingdom Hearts Riku first. Then
I was thinking about making that joke myself, Mark.
Yeah. Then we'll get Final Fantasy X Riku.
I was thinking about making the joke that they're going to announce Riku and it's going to be from Kingdom Hearts.
Do you think they'd risk it though? Because crossing over with Defo is a kiss of death now, isn't it?
Yeah.
With that Dragon Quest.
Yeah, shouldn't do that. Dragon Quest from
I wouldn't put any franchise at risk collaborating with this game.
The Kingdom Hearts mobile game already died, so they don't have much to risk there. So.
It would be killing Defo at this point.
Yeah, well, maybe as Pikachu Game says, the devs mistakenly think Riku's from Final Fantasy Tactics, and so that's why she's not in the game. Minfilia. I think that's the real question. Why does no one ever say where's Minfilia? I think that's the real question. I don't know. I'd rather have her than Red 13 and Riku. See, Red 13, I might. Although we got HaateXIII and we're gonna get Mog, so the there's no monsters. Is not really a valid concern, is it? It's because there's monsters, I guess, technically, non-human creatures. So Red 13 could be.
What would Minfilia even do? Just say, "Pray, return to the waking sands," and that's it? Or
she's a paladin. You can do all kinds of stuff.
Record keeper. She's like a support knight.
Yeah, she's a paladin. She's a paladin.
Oh,
going on there.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Old original Minfilia, not little girl celestial Minfilia, whatever that storyline is. I don't know the story well enough, but the leader of the Cyan Minfilia would be great. Before she died and came back alive. Spoilers for a game you're not going to play if you haven't played it. Come on, seriously. You're not going to play through 1,000 hours of Final Fantasy XIV story if you haven't started already.
Yeah, where the hell is Xenos?
Right, that's a good question.
never will be brought in, probably.
No, at this point, I think it's just safe to say they're just gonna stop making new characters. They're gonna be like, no, I think the roster's fine. No, we don't need them. We don't need it. There are still a lot of characters, even because in the JP timeline they have slowed down, so we're not, and I think we've hit that time. So we're not having a new character every month. We're having a new character every other month, and so I mean, the game could go on for 10 years and we'd still have characters to fill in before you use all of the we don't have all the Type 0 cadets. We don't have all of the main characters from all of the main games, let alone all of the science from 14, let alone all of the, I think we have all the princesses from 11 now, right? Yeah, Xeno from Xenogears. Yep, that's exactly. Xeno is from Xenogears. Great game. Yeah, looking forward to that. That's when when we've started crossing over. I think what game Dragalia Lost is doing a Stranger Things crossover.
Really?
When you've branched into we're doing a Netflix collaboration, then your games that's not good. When Defo does the Attack on Titan or what else is super popular that everybody collabs?
My Hero Academia. Duh.
Oh, My Hero Academia. I haven't seen a lot of My Hero Academia collabs in mobile games. Is that popular too? I mean, I know My Hero Academia is popular.
I'm just saying a popular anime.
Yeah, Nier collab. Yeah,
Nier collabs.
Yeah, Nier collab. Yeah.
Why not that? There we go. It'll work perfectly. Isekai, gotta go for that. That's the easy answer.
ReZero. Well, hey, I think we're going to call this part of the show done. We are at 54 out of 70, so I'm going to be starting the poll process. So if anybody else wants to jump up to 70 before I start polling, now is the time. But thank you all for joining us for episode 149 of the Crystal Chronicles, recorded April 22nd, 2022. Thank you to my hosts, Arrow, Crease, and Necklord, for joining us for all the great Defo news and talk. If you want to connect with us, it is tccpodcast.com for all your links. You can check out all the links to our social media, our Discord, and all of our friends' content creating links in the notes below. We don't know what is in front of us besides a Squex community stream, likely on Monday. So hopefully we'll get more information about what's coming up in the month of May, which should be Terra Cycle and Garland Cycle with new LDs. There's some repeat LDs, but new LDs Deuce, new character Mog, new LD for 7, new LD for Yang, and new LD for Iggy from Final Fantasy 15. Black Strife, thank you. Black Cloud Strife, thank you for the appreciating the pity. So for us all, thank you. May all of your Wakka polls not be RNG, but be truly blessed. And we'll see you all next week for episode 150. And, by the way, I think we're going to do some giveaways. So if you're not subbed and you're not connected to the podcast, get so. And I think we're going to do some giveaways next week for episode 150 of the Crystal Chronicles. Until then, friends, Wakka Wakka.